Hi, I'm Jazz Obert, and welcome to my Talking Guitar podcast with Michael Schenker. The interview you're about to hear captures him at an important moment in his career. It was taped during the fall of 1980, shortly after the Michael Schenker Group had done its very first tour dates in the UK and the US. 8 years earlier, Michael, still a teenager, joined his brother Rudolph and the Scorpions, performing on their Lonesome Crow album. While on tour with that band, he was recruited to join UFO, and he co-wrote two of the band's biggest hits, Doctor Doctor and Rock Bottom. He went on to play on 5 more UFO albums. In 1979, he briefly rejoined the Scorpions as a favor to his brother Rudolph. Quitting the band midway through the Love Drive tour, he announced his decision to front his own lineup. In our interview, he delves into his frustrations with UFO and why he decided to form his own band. Michael's debut album was simply called the Michael Schenker Group. One of the most consistent aspects of Michael's playing is his extraordinary skill at crafting exciting solos. He's one of those players who never fails to get your blood pumping. As you'll hear, he was remarkably candid during our interview. I hope you enjoy it.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. How about yourself?
Good, good. Are you familiar with Guitar Player?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, you ready to start?
Yeah?
How old were you when you started playing?
9 years old.
Yeah? When were you born?
55.
What was the day?
10th of January.
Are you older than Rudolph?
No, younger.
How much older is he?
I think he's... Well, I don't like to tell you. I mean, you should ask him.
Okay.
I don't know how old he wants to be.
Oh, I see.
You know what I mean?
When you started playing, how much time did you spend at it?
Oh, hang on. Can you say that?
Yeah, when you started playing guitar,
Yeah.
how many hours a day were you playing?
When I was like 9, it was more like... it was too serious, you know. I never actually counted the hours then, you know. But when I was like 15, 16, I started to play. Sometimes it was like 4 hours a day. Sometimes I didn't practice at all, like for 2 days. Sometimes it was 8 hours a day. So I think it was on average like 4 hours a day.
What did you think was the most important thing to learn back then?
To learn was to be able to play without thinking, you know, like a routine. But at the same time, I thought it was very important to play fast as much as being able to play slow with a lot of feel. And if you play fast, always to use a lot of melody, even if you play fast. You know, like catchy lines in a fast run. It's what I was always after.
Are you a schooled musician?
No.
Do you?
School? You mean like... No, I never went to school.
Did you ever study music?
No. No, the way I picked it up when I was 9 was my brother he was already playing the guitar and he had to work, but I was going to school. So he asked me if I can find out if I can try to find out some riffs, like Beatles songs and cello songs. And I did that, and he gave me like a Deutschmark for each song. So like when he came back from work in the evening, I showed him the parts. And then I became interested, yeah, because it was fun and it was exciting that I actually got something together. So then all of a sudden it just happened that I always did it for myself, you know, anyway then.
What was the first bands you played in?
The first band was when I was 11 years old. It was called the Weights or something. I'm not sure if it means anything.
Could you spell it?
Huh?
Could you spell it?
Start?
Spell it.
Oh, spell it. Weights. It's like something like ENVATES. I'm not quite sure. It's a long time ago.
I'm sorry.
It's ENERVATES.
Oh, I see. Were you playing electric guitar?
Yeah.
Have you always played electric?
No, I think I started when I was 9 with the acoustic guitar because it was the only thing we had.
And you got an electric when you were 11?
Yeah. I got always my brother's guitar. Whenever he bought a new one, I got his old one.
Who were the most influential guitarists to you back then?
I think the main influence was always, all the big people. I mean, all the famous groups, famous guitarists, like very long time ago, like the Shadows, Hank Marvin, then like Jimmy Page, all those, if you follow back, like all the famous groups, like the rock groups, like Leslie West, those people.
Yeah, I hear a little bit of Leslie West sometimes in your playing.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
I think he was one of my favorites.
Were you interested in Hendrix?
Not very much for some reason, I don't know.
Were there any solos that you thought were particularly good?
No.
I mean, of anybody, when you were little, any solos stick out in your mind?
Oh, yeah, there's quite a few of Jeff Beck, and there is a few of Eric Clapton, Jimmy Page, all those people. That's why I copied them.
Okay. What's your philosophy of soloing now? What do you think a solo should do?
So hard. Well, what I do is I just play a lead break, which really comes from your heart, and it's catchy, and it doesn't get boring, has got the right length, has got the right build-up, and use something original, like some original kind of vibrato or something,
Are most of your solos spontaneous, or do you work them out before you do them?
If I play slowly, like slow songs, I always work out. A nice melody. Well, except for Tales of Mystery, the lead break was spontaneous. I was improvised. But usually, if I do instrumentals,
I'm sorry, what?
they are worked out. But if I play, like songs like Rock Bottom, like fast songs, like
Yeah.
Lost Horizons or Armed and Ready, those songs, they are always improvised.
In your solos, you usually intertwine a bunch of different modes and scales. Can you
Yeah.
do you know what you're doing musically?
Pun?
Do you know how to describe that musically?
No.
Do you know like what the different kinds of scales are and stuff like that?
No.
You just use your ear?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Do you change solos live?
Depends how catchy the lead break was I improvised on the album. If I improvise something on the album and it comes out like catchy, I like to repeat it live.
Uh-huh.
If it is something like a long lead break on Lost Horizons, I improvise. It always depends. I compromise. Some things I like to keep because they're catchy and short, and longer lead breaks I just improvise.
What are your favorite solos that you've done on vinyl?
On what?
On record?
The favorites.
That you've recorded. If somebody wanted to hear the essential Michael Schenker, what solos would you tell them to listen to?
Oh, it's so difficult. You know why? Because on all the albums I've done in the past, there is a lead break on each song. To be honest, I can't remember them all. And if I would say something now, I would probably forget about some important lead break. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to tell.
Have there been times when you've surprised yourself?
Oh, yeah, many times, especially when I was younger.
Uh-huh.
Like when I was 18, when I did the first album, it was like magic,
Can you play everything? Can you play everything you've done on vinyl now?
Everything what?
Everything you've recorded, can you still play it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people have trouble with that. They can't play something they did 3 or 4 albums ago.
Oh, no, because I keep practicing. I make sure that all the little bits I like, and which are part of my past and whatever, I like to keep it, So I know that if you stop practicing, the same as roller skating or ice skating, whatever you do, if you stop practicing, you lose it eventually, Like Jimmy Page, he's lost it.
How much do you practice, and what do you do when you practice?
So at the time, if you reach a certain standard, like you have been practicing over like years and years and years and years, then you get to a point, say like, well, I don't know how much just back practice, but you get to a point when you get fed up with this kind of stuff, and you think you have to, you are much more clever now than you were before, and you go into this kind of weird stuff like Jeff Beck does, and I don't want to end up there, because I like rock too much. So if you reach a certain technique, you should stop practicing too much, like this kind of stuff. You just should or practice less and think more, or leave. I think there's a little echo here in the line. Because like the technique, because the people, they won't understand if you play too fast, if you play too clever. And I think it's very important to play very good, but play extremely fast or flippy. It doesn't really mean you play extremely good for the people. You're playing to the audience unless you play to yourself. If you play to yourself and you want to satisfy yourself, there is never an end in any kind of profession. But I like to keep it, in rock, I like to keep it straight. I like to be fast, extremely fast, with a lot of melody. I just like to be a tasteful guitarist, to be so that people can actually understand what I'm saying. That's all.
What's the difference between what you play by yourself and what you play for the public?
Oh, I'm not playing anything for myself, you see. You end up, if you actually play for yourself, then you go the way Jeff Beck goes. So, you get weird. You want to do something completely different,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But I like rock too much. So what I practice at home is exactly the same I play to the audience.
I see. What do you think about when you're on stage playing?
What do I think?
Yeah.
I don't think I think anything. I'm just absolutely concentrated on the notes I'm playing. I don't know. All I see, I think, is strings and hands, and the left hand reaching for different notes, and the right hand is hitting the strings.
Do you have to be in a certain state of consciousness to play your best?
No. Well, all I need is seeing the people out there going, mad, and asking for the music and asking for the group, and that's enough.
Is that
the truck, which gives you the power and the concentration to play, to give your best.
How much effect does your emotional state at that time affect what you're going to play?
I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
Like if you're sad before you go on stage, or if you're happy, will that happen?
No, you forget, because the power of the audience, the atmosphere is so strong. Well, I don't know. The first tour without alcohol was the one I did in England a few weeks ago.
Uh-huh.
It was my first tour for 1.5 years or for 2 years, and it was also the first tour without any alcohol, any drugs. And it was
without any what?
amazing.
I'm sorry.
Pardon?
Was the first year without what?
It was the first tour without taking any drugs or any alcohol. Because before I always used to play, at least 3 or 4 bottles of beer, because I thought I could never be on stage without alcohol or without drugs. But now, doing it without, I've been without alcohol and without drugs for 9 months now, and I feel so much better than I did before. And I think I play much better than I did before, and everybody has noticed that. And so I'm pleased with the way everything turns out, that actually alcohol is bad, and you only imagine you feel better, but you don't really, And I've got to be carried away just now.
Can you play everything you imagine? And everything you can hear in your head?
I'm not quite sure. I'm not sure if I could do it straight away.
Yeah. How do you come up with new licks?
Well, I think it's I just play. I just try to find nice melodies, nice. I just mess around and try to play a bit weird, but still in a kind of melodic way. And then I try to connect it and play it, try it out faster and try it out slower and see how it works best. And then try to remember it by repeating it every day until it sticks in your head. And then once in a while you use it in the middle of a lead break.
What bands were you in between Enervates and the Scorpions?
Enervates, then I joined a group called The Cry.
How do you spell that?
C-R-Y.
Uh-huh.
It was like the youngest beat band from Germany at the time.
Uh-huh.
Everybody was under 14 years old.
Bank of America, Cupertino.
And then I joined,
Do you hear those voices on the line? Hi, Michael.
It's better now, isn't it?
Yeah, you were just with the band Cry when you
Huh?
were about 14. You were telling me about the band Cry, and then your next.
Yeah.
What was your next band?
Copernicus.
What's Copernicus?
Yeah, that was the group with Klaus, the singer of the Scorpions. Klaus and myself. It's spelled like C-O-R. I'm sorry, huh?
C-O-P-E-R?
Yeah, C-O-P-E-R-N-I-C-C-O-K, I'm not sure, U.S.
And when were you in this band?
That was when I was 15, for a year.
Did you record with any of these bands?
No, nothing. Scorpions was the first album I did.
Lonesome Crow?
Yeah.
Now, in the 2 years between Lonesome Crow and Phenomenon with UFO, your style and tone changed dramatically. What do you attribute this to?
What do you mean between Lonesome Crow and the first album with UFO?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's just like if you haven't got a style, like if you have been only playing for 5 years and you haven't really got a style, and you practice a lot, you change a lot. Like in between 1 year. As soon as you found a style, then you never change for the rest of your life, most probably.
When you first joined UFO, was it hard to communicate with the other guys because of the language barrier?
Yeah, it was. I couldn't speak any English, but I had my girlfriend, which became my wife, and we are separated now. She helped me out by speaking, translating for me what I wanted to say if it was something important.
Yeah.
But apart from, like, if I worked with UFO for 6 hours a day, the rest of the day I was talking German, so it took me a long time to learn English. But just like a few months ago, I went to school to get a bit more into English, and I think it helped a lot.
Oh, yeah, you have really good English now.
Yeah.
How did the lick and rock bottom originate?
Well, you mean the main riff?
Yeah. That's really a classic.
Yeah, the way it came out, I remember we were writing songs for Phenomenon, and we were rehearsing and jamming in the studio. And I remember that Phil Mark, nothing happened, some Phil Mark bought himself a newspaper and like lying on the floor and reading it and you said you have a jam and look for some riffs. And there was like silence for like half an hour. And all of a sudden I picked up the guitar and played this riff. And that's the way it came together.
Oh, it's great. When you were the only guitarist in the band and you did Doctor Doctor live, you managed to play the harmonies. How did you do that?
I tried to... I changed the harmony a bit to be able to play it. But what I do is I play with 2 fingers.
Besides your pick?
Huh?
You play with 2 fingers on which hand?
Oh, with 2 fingers on my left hand. So say like, you can actually play with 1 finger if you use only 1 harmony. So if you play 2 harmonies, you play like with 2 fingers. Yeah, like each finger is for 1 guitarist. I've got a terrible echo in here, but so what can I say? I just play with two fingers and bend the 2 strings at the same time and do the run with 2 fingers at the same time.
What do you do? With your right hand, are you holding a pick?
I hold the pick with the right hand.
And are you using any other fingers besides the fingers holding the pick when you play that?
Do I use anything else?
Yeah.
No.
Just the right hand? Just the pick?
A plectrum. A plectrum, yeah?
Yeah, just the plectrum?
Yeah, right.
Okay. When No Heavy Petting came out, you had the keyboardist on it. Was it your idea to add the keyboard so you'd have more of
Yeah, I always liked keyboards, but I think the one we had then was the wrong type of. He was too much into keyboards. That's good. Well, that's a good thing when we changed to Paul Raymond because he plays the guitar and the keyboards, so you can actually change, you know.
When Chapman joined the group, he was playing pretty much your licks on the songs. Did you sort of break him in?
What do you mean when?
Like for
the Phenomenon?
For, Strangers in the Night.
Ah. No, I mean, I'm not quite sure. Well, Paul Chapman, he joined after Strangers in the Night.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he plays on Strangers in the Night, doesn't he?
No, he doesn't.
Oh, okay. They list him on the record.
Yeah, it's a bit, again, another nasty thing, you know, because when I left the group, they said they sacked me, okay? And the first time I left, they said I joined the Moonies. The second time I left, they said to other papers they sacked me. And, you know, I mean, they need all this bullshit to be able to, you know, they have to lie to be able to be, to get still the kind of respect from the audience.
What really happened?
What really happened was that the first time when I left without telling anything, because I knew if I would have told them I'm leaving, they would have tried to keep me in a group by telling me lies and promising things which are not there. So I just left because I was a bit ill and you know, the rest. And I went on holiday, you know, and just got myself straightened out. And 2 months later, when I had to get in touch with the manager, they tried to talk me into it to rejoin, which I did because I was feeling okay again. And and meanwhile, they wrote all these stories about joining the Moonies and everything. And I thought it's fair enough because I didn't say anything when I left, so it's okay if they do things like this. But the second time, when I told them 2 months in advance that I'm going to leave, and 2 months later when I left, I came back from Germany because I had just done the Love Drive album, and tried to get into my house, and the house was locked, and because they didn't pay for the rent and nothing, you know. And then I found out, and friends told me that they put in all the papers that Michael Schenker got the sack. So then I decided to write letters to all the music papers in England and in America to tell them the whole truth about the two times I left, you know, what the reason was. But they never put it out in America, but they did in England.
At the time you left UFO, was the band too limiting musically for what you were able to express? Because it seems you were so much more advanced musically than the rest of the band.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, I'm happy with whatever happened in the past. I think it was just right, and everything worked out perfect, you know, with the good things and the bad things. I think they're all important to, you know, whatever. I think everything went just right. But it could have maybe been better if I would have had different musicians. You never know. I mean, you can't say if, you know. I think it was just fine the way everything went, and that's it. You make mistakes, you learn from it, but it's not good, you know, to go like, oh, I wish I would have done this different and this different, you know.
Yeah, you're right.
It's the past. You can't change it anyway. So you just try from now on to make it different and to look for the right musicians straight away, the ones you like, so you don't have to change all the time.
On your last album with UFO, the live album, were there many after the concert guitar overdubs, or is most of that recorded live?
We couldn't do too many because the drums is picking up the guitar on stage, so you can't redo the drums anyway. So if you overdub, it still picks up the old lead break over the drum microphones.
Oh, I see. So all
you understand?
Yeah.
So you can't do any overdubs unless there is something like you might get a song where it didn't pick up too much and you are able to control it, you know, but it's not many.
So most of those are the actual live solos?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you ever played with Ulrich Roth?
Have I ever played with him?
Yeah. You ever jammed with him, or?
Oh, I think I did once in Germany, yeah. A long time ago.
When you appeared on Love Drive, people thought you had rejoined the Scorpions. Was that ever part of the plan?
No, when I did it, it was a favor. My brother asked me to do it because Matthias Japs was a bit lost because he didn't just join the group, and his lead breaks were a bit too, you know, just like technical, without any fear. You couldn't think of any nice licks or whatever. So they did about 2 lead breaks, or 3, I'm not quite sure, and I did 5. I came over and did 5 lead breaks, but I think it only mentioned 3 lead breaks because there was the other two lead breaks was like a combination of my lead break and a bit of Matthias and a bit of my brothers.
Do you know what cuts those are?
Oh, I can't remember now.
Okay. Is your new rhythm section giving you a lot of new ideas for soloing?
Oh yes. Oh, I mean, Cozy it's like a train. You know, it's like a machine full of energy. I mean, he plays a double bass drum, and the way he builds up the solo on the drums gives me the kind of like getting into it and building up at the same time, which makes it really, on the end, it really steams. You know, high energy. It's really, great. You know.
Have you ever played on sessions outside of UFO or the Scorpions?
No, for some reason I never did. I don't know why. I don't know. I think I was never really interested, you know, to appear on too many different albums or play with different groups. I just wanted to stick with one group and make the best, you know, out of this one.
You have a real unique tone with a very penetrating mid-range.
Uh-huh.
How do you achieve it? Do you keep your wah-wah down when you record or something?
Well, that's the thing. I think on the first album, Phenomenon, I recorded a lot with the wah-wah. In the second one, I think I did half and half. On No Heavy Petting, I used a different guitar, and I think I used the wah-wah quite a lot as well. Yeah, it's just like the wah-wah, you can put it on, you know, you just put it on on treble, or you put it in the middle, or you put it on low. Depends what kind of sound you want.
And just leave it there?
Yeah. Well, you change it if you want a different sound while you're playing the lead break, you know? I mean, it's up to you what you want.
Would you I'm sorry.
Okay?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but then on Lights Out, I played pick nose, you know? Almost the whole album was played by pick nose. And I didn't like it, so I went back to the Marshall and Obsession, which was, again, a combination, some lead breaks with wah-wah, some without, but live I almost play every lead break with the wah-wah, because it sings, the tone sings more, you know, it's got more sustain.
What guitars and amps did you use on the first Scorpion album you were on?
It was the Marshall and the Les Paul, I think.
A Les Paul?
Yeah, I think it was Les Paul then, yeah.
And what about with UFO on the first couple of albums?
Always Marshall, 50 watts, and Flying V.
How many Flying Vs have you owned?
How many what?
Flying Vs have you had?
The one I'm playing now is the one I've always been playing.
Oh yeah, what year is it?
It could be like 68, 70.
And
has been broken about 10 times. Twice it has been in 1,000 pieces, and somebody just managed to rebuild it completely, like perfect. Even most probably even better than it was when I bought it new.
Do you modify it?
No, it's just like. What I think is very important is not to have many guitars. To have to stick to one guitar, and play it all the time. So the guitar gets. You get used to the guitar, and the guitar gets used to you. You know, like because you repeat. You play on certain. You play, some people always play on E, some people always play on A, you know, whatever. But you have got certain chords you prefer, everybody prefers. So you you play the same things over and over and over. And by doing this, the guitar gets used to your kind of vibrato and the way you press, how hard you press and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the guitar gets very smooth and everything just goes very smooth. And that's why a guitar sounds better after a while than it does when you get it new, because when you get it new it's stiff, you know, it's not used to your kind of technique. But as soon as the guitar gets used to your technique, it starts singing and vibrate very gently and warm, you know.
So which album has that Gibson V been on?
On Phenomenon, on Fawcett, some I think on No Heavy Petting, on some of Lights Out, I think, on Obsession, on Strangers in the Night. No, I'm not sure about Strangers in the Night, I think it was half and half. And on the new album.
Mm-hmm. What was the other guitar you were using?
It was the Flying V, but it was, I think, a bit older. It was like a 62 or 63 or 64.
How many Flying V's do you own?
Oh, only I've got one spare.
And how many other guitars do you have?
Nothing. Just 2 Flying V's.
Do you have any acoustics?
No.
Are your amplifiers modified?
No, it's just 50-watt Marshall.
Let me flip my tape over here. What's your pedal board have on it?
Pedal board? I haven't got a pedal board. It's just the warmer pedal I've got.
You don't have any other devices?
No.
That's amazing. What kind of strings do you use?
Fender rock and roll from 9 to is it 40 or something.
How do you have the action on your guitar?
It's actually getting quite high because for some reason, I don't know. I think I used to play much lower than I do now, but I'm not quite sure why I'm playing higher. I think for some reason something with the bridge. I've got something to do with the bridge, and if the bridge is a touch too low, the B string, if I bend the B string, it goes dead.
Yeah.
So I have to have a certain height so the B string actually still sings if I bend on the fret which one is the 18th or whatever. And so I have to play quite high, higher than I used to, but it's okay.
Do you take care of your own guitar?
In what way? Like cleaning it?
Or repairing it, or do you handle it when you're on the road?
No, nothing.
It's all taken care of for you?
I don't know. Well, on the last tour, I think somebody did like clean it every night. But if I'm on my own and have got the guitar, I never do anything to it.
Do you always tune it the regular way?
Tune the regular way, yeah.
You don't use open tunings?
No.
Okay. How do you set up in the studio?
Set up? You mean what do I use?
Yeah. How do you get your sound?
It's the Marshall and the guitar, and sitting in the control room and play around with the mixing desk.
Do you play at full volume?
Oh yeah, I'll just play the way I play live.
Is most of the techniques in it, I assume it's in your hands, right?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you do many first takes in the studio?
Do what?
First takes?
First takes, how do you mean? Different takes?
Yeah. Do you usually get the solo you want the first time, or do you?
No, you must be joking, because I'm never satisfied with the lead breaks I do. So I keep playing lead breaks over and over. I just take them all, you know. I play lead breaks, and then they go like, "Oh, Michael, that was a good lead break." I said, "No, I can do better than this one." Then I do another one, and then I do another one, and in the end I've got about 10. And I just, we have to compromise and take the best one.
So you don't splice them together, do you?
Huh?
Do you splice parts together?
Oh, sometimes. Depends how like sometimes you play a lead break and it has got, like the first quarter is not so good, but the last 3 quarter is so amazing, like the build up, that it would be a waste if we would forget about it and do another one. So we try to replace the quarter on the front to make it perfect.
Do you have ways of psyching yourself into playing really good in the studio, or inspiring yourself?
It's really difficult to play as good in the studio as you would. I don't know. Sometimes you play better live, sometimes you play better in the studio. It all depends. I think that's got something to do with moods, or the atmosphere in the studio, or the song, something to do with the song, or like sometimes you play better if you sit down. And sometimes the audience turn you on so much that you play extremely good. I mean, you can't put it to any. It's different all the time.
How do you hold your pick or your plectrum?
I hold it with my thumb and 2 fingers next to it.
And do you follow any patterns for picking, like up and down strokes or anything like that?
Well, if I play fast, I try to hit the string each time you hear note changes, yeah, or each time you hear something changes or a hit, I try to hit as much as possible sometimes. And sometimes it's nicer to play fast, but hit once and let the fingers on the left just go fly over the strings, so you get like a kind of dum-dum, yeah? Instead of dum-dum-dum-dum, So it's a difference. It's up to your own. It depends what kind of taste you've got and what you want. That's how you keep changing while you're doing a lead break, and you only get it interesting if you use different techniques and nice melodies in one lead break, you know? Or,
yeah.
So it's difficult to describe, actually.
How do you angle your pick to get that harmonic growl you have?
You hold it very, the end of it is very short. I mean, the side where you hit it with, it's very short.
So the flesh of your finger hits it too?
Yeah, you hit it with the plectrum, and at the same time, it hits your thumb a bit. You get a kind of clong.
Does your vibrato come more from your wrist or from your fingers?
Wrist, I would say.
Do you anchor any part of your right hand on the guitar when you play?
Anchor, what's that?
Yeah, to rest like your wrist or your hand on the guitar, is it always
Yeah, on the bridge. I think on the bridge I put it.
Your hand or?
Yeah, my hand, the one I pick with, the hand I put on the wrist, on the bridge.
Do you usually use the little finger of your left hand?
Oh, not very much. Only if I play fast runs, I think.
Do you ever play slide?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Sometimes it's even hard to tell.
Yeah, well, that's the good thing about it, because that's what Jeff Beck does as well. He plays, sometimes I can't tell if he plays a slide or if he plays normal. But that's good. I like that because I like smooth slide players, you know.
Yeah.
And I like the new, I mean, the old-fashioned like blues, you know, you know, this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't like too much because it's the old blues fashion. But I like the kind of slide where you don't open tune, you just play as if you were playing a lead break, you know. You just use whatever comes into your mind, and you just use the right kind of vibrato. So, and you just try to play it smooth. So
Yeah.
it just sounded sometimes that you don't play, and people go like, oh, how does he do that, you know? I like that kind of thing.
What kind of slide do you use, Michael?
It's a glass slide, a big one.
Real thick glass?
Yeah, thick and also like a big hole.
Do you ever have trouble staying in tune?
Not lately for some reason. I did when I joined UFO, I always spent about like a minute between each number to retune my guitar. I don't know why, but I think I didn't change every night then. But since I have actually, I think that's maybe the answer. Since I changed strings for each night for every gig, it just stays perfectly.
Do you break the strings in before you go on stage? Do you do anything special?
Yeah, no, you have to bend them a lot and to stretch them as much as you can, and just play for 2 hours or 1 hour before you go on stage, so the string actually gets played in a bit, you know?
How did you go about developing your speed? Like, what keeps most people from getting as fast as you've gotten?
What keeps the most people?
What keeps people from getting the speed? Like, you're real unique.
Speed.
Yeah, the speed you have is...
Yeah, everything with it, I mean, speed is absolute, is only up to practice. Because speed you can only get if you practice, because this is the talent, because like your hands, yeah, they are stiff if you don't practice. So you have to, I mean, it's the same like jogging and everything. To be fast, you have to practice. There's no other way.
Do you follow...
Talent is like if you play, say like Paul Kossoff, yeah, he had like nice, he played slow and a kind of nice with vibrato and all this. Or like Jeff Beck, he plays slow and he just plays absolute tasty, yeah, but he never plays fast. And he plays tasty, which is talent. You know, he most probably never rehearses, but he will always, most probably will be a tasteful guitarist. Unless, you know, if he goes a bit too mad with this weird style he has got at the moment. But he doesn't need practice, I think. But if you play, to be able to play fast, you need a lot of practice. Many people are too lazy to do it.
What do you feel when you, is there anything you do in special, do you like do scales or anything in particular to get speed? Or do you just play what comes out of your head?
I think you after all these years, you just, you pick up the guitar and you practice, and all of a sudden you play a little line. And then you try to remember this line, and then you repeat, and most probably you try to make this line a bit longer by using it over 6 strings instead of like only using it for 5 seconds. So you go all over the place, and then you practice it for a while, And then once in a while you come back to it and you keep practicing, like I said before, until it sticks in your head. And then you automatically use it in the lead break when you think it could fit. And by doing this, you find another nice little line and another one. And that's the way how you develop your own style as well. You know, you put your own taste together into one part.
Did you ever come up with a solo before you had a song to put it in?
Oh, you mean like come up with the solo first and then the song happens already?
Yeah.
I think I did. I think it's the way. Well, that's the way I think Dr. Came together. First I had the down, diddle down, because usually it's the rhythm guitar, which, the first thing in the song.
Yeah.
But with Dr. it was the down, diddle down, down, diddle down, and then I did the rhythm to it, and then the rest.
When you were writing songs with Mark, or when you write songs now with Bardens, do you usually write the music parts and they come up with the words?
Yeah, that's always the same. I do the music and the singer does the lyrics.
How do you compose? Do you have a method of doing it, or?
Well, what I do is I put, if I've got ideas, I put it on a cassette, and I do this for about 6 months. And after 6 months, I've got maybe like 2 cassettes together. Then, if I've got nothing to do sometimes, I listen back to the 2 cassettes and record the best parts of the 2 cassettes onto another cassette. And I leave this for another month or for another 2 months. And then I listen to the other cassette again, and maybe do the same thing again. So, on the end, I most probably have got like 10 really nice ideas. And then I put those nice ideas together and make songs out of them.
What's the hardest part of your repertoire for you?
Yeah, I don't understand that.
What's the hardest song that you do, or the hardest?
Oh, the hardest to play, you mean?
Yeah.
Hard. Oh, I don't know. I think, if you want to play them all good, they're all equal hard. They're all hard. It depends how good you want, how tight, how good you want them to play.
Do you have any unusual techniques that people don't know about?
I'm not sure.
I've never seen you play live, so I haven't seen any myself, but.
I think there's nothing like special. I think all there is, it's like to play straightforward without any special effects. So that actually nobody can say, oh, it only sounds like this because he has got this machine. So I like the kind of image. You have got an amplifier, you have got the guitar, you've got one wah pedal, and anything else, it's up to yourself. And I prefer that. I like this, and I always have liked guitarists which go this way instead of like Jimi Hendrix and all those groups which try to copy him, using a lot of phaser or harmonizer. Okay, I mean lately on the English tour, the mixing guy, he puts the harmonizer in once in a while, just in case it gets maybe too boring, because I'm using quite a lot. I'm using the treble pickup. I've changed to use a bit more of the bass pickup now as well, because there used to be a time when I only played, for 1 hour, just the treble pickup. But now I play the bass pickup for a while sometimes, and once in a while, like say 3 times in the whole set, he puts the harmonizer in for a short part in the lead break. That's all, and I much more prefer that.
Do you have stock pickups in your guitar?
So what?
Do you have regular Gibson pickups?
Yeah, just the normal guitar, normal flying V.
Michael, what do you think when you hear other guys playing licks that you came up with?
Oh, I think, I think it's quite interesting, because all I can say then is I can tell where I am, because when I started playing the guitar, I used to copy somebody else. And then there used to be a time when I tried not to copy, which was in the middle of the past until now. And now it has come to a part that people actually try to copy me. So I look back and go like, amazing, that's where I am now. I'm actually there where people like Jimmy Page used to be for me when I was young, and try to copy them. Just gives me a kind of idea where I am at the moment,
Are there any newcomers that you're impressed with?
New what?
New players?
New players.
People who've just come on the scene in the last couple of years?
Well, I think I'm quite impressed by Eddie Van Halen.
What's the attraction there?
Huh?
What's the attraction?
Well, he plays funny, you know, and I like that. He plays funny, and I think it's original, you know. And I mean, he can't play a straight guitar, which is not, you know, important. I mean, he has got his own little style. He uses his tremolo arm, and he plays his doodly doodly doodle and all this stuff, which is, you know, it's good. It's interesting. It's his own little thing. I'm sure he can't play a straight guitar, you know, like without any pedals and without any you know, tremolo arm, just like straight using his two hands. I'm sure he can do it, but I'm sure he can't do it extremely good. But I like the way he plays. I like, you know, the way he has chosen, you know.
Yeah.
It's very flashy, you know.
Do you think you've peaked yet?
Huh?
Do you think, how close do you think you've come to reaching your peak as a guitarist?
I would never, I mean, I don't think that anybody reaches anybody, because yes, we all have got our own little style, you know. Eddie has got his little style, I've got my own little style, and all the good guitarists, they've got their own little style. You can never say who is best, you know. I mean,
No, I'm speaking personally. Do you feel that, how close do you think you've come to reaching your peak?
No, you can't tell because he plays completely different. He's using too much.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure.
Well, like some people would say that the peak of Eric Clapton.
What is peak? Hang on. What is the peak?
The high point. Like,
high point.
Like some people would say Clapton's peak was when he was with Cream.
Oh, okay. Oh, right. Yeah, I tell you. The first album was his highest.
Uh-huh. What about your own? Are there times?
My own.
Are there times when you thought you peaked?
I would say. It's very difficult to say. I think it went up and down. At the moment, it's going up again, and it's a kind of different because I'm doing it all without, you know, alcohol and without drugs, which gives you a mood, a slightly different kind of. You play it slightly different, you know, like a different style. Because if you're drunk and you play a bit more all over the place. You're not as precise. So I think I'm going up again because everybody actually says that I'm playing better than ever. You know, like even we played London Hammersmith Odeon, and the manager of UFO was there, and Andy Parker, the drummer. And Andy came backstage and he said he couldn't believe it. You know, I played like so much better than I played with UFO. So which is a nice compliment. I didn't actually really notice it, but other people obviously do. But I can't tell because I can't remember how I actually played when I was like, you know, had a few beers and all this, you know.
What do you see yourself doing in 30 years, Michael?
I don't plan that far in advance because it takes too much energy. All I've got planned now is to do this tour and, you know, get ready for the album, for the next one, which most probably will be recorded in March next year or February. But to think too much about the future is quite dangerous. You know, it never comes up the way you plan it, and sometimes you make it too beautiful, and you are depressed if it doesn't come out the way you thought it should have. You know, so it's a waste of time. Just the best is to live today. You know.
Do you have any advice you'd give young guys, young guitar players?
Yeah, I mean, what can you say? There's not much you can say. I think it's all like experience. Some people have to go through shit to learn. Some people never go through shit and they learn anyway. It all depends, you know, there is a script written for you, for your life. And there's nothing you can do about it unless you find out what life is all about, which means that you are a very wise person and you can control your life the way you want to. So all I can say is try to be wise.
Okay. Well, that covers what I'm looking for, Michael.
Great.
Anything else you want to mention in the article?
Well, you know who's playing in the group? Did I mention that?
No.
Oh, you don't?
Is it the
Do
same?
you know?
Is it the same guys as on the album?
No, it's different.
Could you give me the rundown?
Yeah, the drummer is Cozy Powell.
Oh yeah, sure.
Ex-Rainbow.
Yeah.
The bass player is Chris Glenn, ex-Alex Harvey Band. And the keyboard player is Paul Raymond, ex-UFO. And the singer is the same on the album and myself.
Okay.
Gary Barton.
And what city were you born in?
Sarstedt. It's Sarstedt.
And
It's 25 kilometers from Hanover.
okay. And where did you go to school at?
Where? In Sarstedt. This is exactly where I was born.
Okay. I think that pretty much covers it, Michael.
Great.
Thanks a million.
So how do you pronounce your name?
Jazz Obrecht.
Huh?
Jazz Obrecht.
Yeah, because the first one, jazz, I wasn't quite sure. It was like jazz, you know, like the jazz, the music style, jazz.
Yeah, that's close enough.
Jazz, yeah. It's like, is it like J-A-S?
Mm-hmm. Last name
Right.
Obrecht. Good German name. O-B-R-E.
Oh, yeah.
O-B-R-E-C-H-T.
Ah, great.
My people are from Baden-Baden.
Baden-Baden, that's South Germany.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic.
Okay, where can I send some copies of the magazine when it comes out?
Can you send it to Chrysalis would be the best?
Okay, I'll do that.
Great.
Thanks, Michael.
Thanks very much, Jen.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Okay?
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
I'm happy to report that Michael is still very active, touring and recording with the Michael Schenker Group, which is also known as MSG. At the time we filmed this video right here, Michael was preparing a collection of UFO cover songs featuring guest performances by a who's who of classic hard rock and heavy metal. It's called My Years with UFO, and it's scheduled for a September 2024 release. Before signing off, I want to thank my pal Nik Hunt, who produces these podcasts, the fine guys at the Southern Folklife Collection, and I'd encourage you to look at my online Talking Guitar magazine, which is easy to access through Google. Thank you, and catch you next time.